The most repeated sentence that I've heard throughout my entire career is people coming to me saying that there's something that they don't like about their facade, but they can't really express it and they can't verbalize what's not adding up. And it's really frustrating position to be in because you can't really express your idea and you can't really tell your architect what you're not liking, but at the same time, you're just not happy about it. Well, in today's video, I'm gonna show you the exact framework that you can follow to really analyze your facade and find out what's not working. So if you're interested, then please keep on watching. Okay, so let me share my screen here. There is 8-step framework that we're gonna do today, and you can grab your facade that you're struggling with, or you can follow along here. But first, we're gonna start from the generic thing, and then we're gonna go very specific. So I want you to kind of step back a little bit from your screen, and I want you to squint your eye and really look at your facade. So for example, in this board here that I'm doing, that you can, by the way, grab from the description below, is the box here. That's all I see when I squint my eye. And if you actually do have that in your facade too, then honestly, you're doomed. I'm just kidding. But seriously, we do have a problem. If your facade is reading as one giant mass, then we will have to fix that. Because what happens when the eye actually is looking at one giant mass is that it's really heavy on the eye. When you look at it, it's so unentertaining. It's very boring. Like the eye is not excited to keep looking at the facade. So what we want to do instead is we want to avoid that boring box, and we want to start using some primary and some secondary compositions and volumes. So let's look at this example here for now. Now when I squint, I see a couple things. You know, I see this reading as one, I see this thing reading as one, I see this, I see that. So now I have multiple things that the eye can look at and can be entertained with. So always break the mass, always have multiple volumes, and always create like interesting roof lines. So when you squint, I want you to have multiple things that you can highlight on top of your facade. Number 2, I want you to look at the hierarchy of your facade. And the exercise here is I want you to actually, again, put the picture on the screen, and I want you to look away like this and then quickly turn. And bonus point if you have long hair. So you look away and you quickly turn. And the first thing that's gonna jump at you from the facade is your hierarchy. Again, if you're gonna look away and turn again, I'm just doing it for the fun of it right now, and then nothing jumps at you, then you don't really have a hierarchy. So hierarchy is what the eye is gonna land on first. So for example, when I look away and I look at this example here, everything is screaming for attention and they all have the same importance. And my eye is like really doesn't know what to look at first. But if we look at the example here, when I look away and I look at this image, the first thing that my eye lands on is the entrance. It doesn't have to be the entrance, it could be anything, but as long as there's one thing that you look at first, then you look at the rest of the facade, then you do have hierarchy. So again, if you don't have that, you have to identify a specific focal point, and that could be the entrance, that could be, sometimes it could even be a garage. Like it's not the ideal thing, but just because the garage is such a big thing that it tends to kind of overpower the facade, and that's okay. But as long as you know it's framed, it's done nicely. Number 3, we want to create depth. Okay, so for depth, we want things to read 3-dimensional. Again, as I always say, architecture is something that's spatial. Like the eye, when the eye looks at a facade, it wants to experience it as a 3-dimensional thing. It doesn't want it to read flat. So for this exercise, for example, I'm gonna just show you like with my hands probably here. So if you think of my hands, both of them, creating one plane, one facade. Okay, so it's very 2-dimensional. The eye looks at it, it falls flat, and then it's like, oh, okay, there's nothing else I can look at. But if I bring my hand here and then push it forward, and then my hand here is in the background, so notice what happens here at this area. You see that shadow? That shadow there, it's super interesting to the brain. It's fascinating because the brain, I always tell you this, the brain does not like to think. The brain hates thinking, and as soon as you make your brain think, it's gonna just like check out. So what we want to do is we want to tell the brain, hey, wait a second, you see the shadow here? This is spatial. And then the brain is gonna be like, oh, okay, now I can read it. It's like, it's not all flat. I'm not like struggling to find what's in the background, in the foreground. And then it's gonna justify your facade as something that looks good. So again, it's all these things that happen in a fraction of a millisecond. Like it's really beyond what you can really verbalize. Like I said at the earlier in this video, it's things that happen so quickly in your brain that it just, I don't know, just like, oh, don't hate the player, hate the game. It's like the eye has been trained on actually analyzing things like this for millions of years. So it's just how human nature kind of developed over the years. So again, for the depth, we always want to have a push and a pull. We want to have some recesses. We want to have projections. We want to, most importantly, we just want to have shadow. Cast shadow any shape or form. Just as long as you have shadow, you're going to have some depth. Number 4, we're going to look at the composition of the facade. So composition is all about having different things aligning. For example, the openings here, like we want to make sure that the windows are, or any type of opening, it doesn't have to be the windows, the garage, the door, the balcony, everything needs to be somewhat aligned. And you can always do this exercise with me again. Like I said, I want you to grab your board or your whatever it is that you're working with, and then just move it to the side. If you're gonna end up with something that looks like this, then most likely you have things that are all aligned, so that's good. But if you have things that are, you know, like things that are like a window here and a window there and then a window here, it's like all over the board, then it's not, you don't have a good composition. Okay, so number 5, we want to start framing things. And I always talk about framing as a way to introduce shadow, because when you do framing, you probably have like some strips or something going around the facade, and that creates a shadow. But also that can create a hierarchy. So when you first, like you do that exercise from earlier, look away and then you turn around, it's kind of like it grabs your attention. So having a type of framing is very important, because you know it tells you where the key features are in the facade. Number 6, we want to talk about materiality. Again, I just posted a materiality video not long ago, and I talked about minimizing your material palette and doing a 60-30-10 rule. If you're interested, I'm going to link it here. Or if you just want to kind of get a quick summary of that, is you want to have 60% of your facade with a base material, and that could be usually be stucco, or it could be paint, anything that's kind of a little bit on the muted side. And then 30%, that could be your secondary element. That could be some type of wood, some type of stone, something that you can put in the projections of the facade, something you can put in the balcony wall. So to emphasize certain compositions like that. And then for the 10%, that could be your accent thing. That could be either something very black, for example, something that is like a laser cutout, something that it's very accent-like, that you cannot put all throughout the facade, but you can just like put it in one place of the facade to kind of add a little bit of contrast and tension. Okay, that brings me to the next point, which is number 7, which is contrast. So contrast is one of those things, again, that the brain loves, because it makes the brain think less. Because when you have a texture that's rough, the only way for the brain to read it as super rough is to put something smooth next to it. Like there is no like darkness without light. There is no roughness without smoothness. There is no coldness without warmth. There's always, these things always have to kind of live together in a facade. And that way it helps the eye really experience the richness of the texture, and it can really experience the darkness of that dark color. And it just like, it creates this visual tension, and then it's very intriguing to the eye, because the eye wants to just like keep looking at the thing. Because sometimes when you don't have that contrast, the eye is, you know, kind of just like bored, and it's like, okay, there's really nothing here to look at. But when you have these things, like the brain likes to perceive things in a context. It doesn't like to see things in isolation. So if you put them next to each other, then it can really read that contrast and that differences between the two. So again, that contrast just, it kind of, it wakes up the eye, and it's like, you know, keep looking at the thing. This is an interesting thing. Number 8, we're gonna talk about details. Okay, so details here, we're talking about trims of the windows, we're talking about lighting, we're talking about railing, we're talking about just these little details here, like sconces and stuff. And sometimes clients always get so obsessed with these things. And this is really the last thing you should be thinking about. Like, architects actually end here, but a lot of people start here. They're like, okay, but how about if I do this type of railing? How about if I do this? I'm like, nobody cares, seriously. If you follow the first, especially the first three, I want to say your massing, your hierarchy, your depth, if you don't have these three, honestly, none of this really matters. But I know like these three are actually the hardest thing to really analyze in a facade, because they require a lot of training and they require years and years of really reading facades and reading architecture in general. So clients, you know, tend to be like, yeah, I don't want to look at that because it's hard. And again, like I said earlier, the brain doesn't like to think. But if you have those three things, then this is just going to be a breeze. And I guarantee you your facade is going to look a lot better. So quick recap here. Number one, massing. So the question is the overall form of the building compelling? Do I have multiple volumes that are broken down into separate proportions? Number two, hierarchy. The question is, where should the eye look first? Number three is depth. Does the facade have layers? Number four is your composition and your openings. Are the elements all organized and aligned? Number five is framing. What deserves an emphasis? Is it your balcony that needs more frames around it? Is it an opening that has like vertical slats? What is the thing that you want to frame? Number six is materiality. Do you have materials that are supporting each other and they are contrasting? And also, do they follow the 60-30-10 rule? Number seven, do you have contrast? Is there like enough light versus dark? Is there enough rough versus smooth? Is there enough warm versus cold? And lastly is number eight, which is details. Like, what can really help elevate this facade like just a 10% more? Like the details, as I said earlier, is not what's going to take your facade to like a 70 or an 80%. It's just probably going to add like a quick 10%. So that's pretty much the framework to analyze your facade. And trust me, if you use this exact sequence, you will be able to figure out what is really lacking or what's missing in your facade and how to fix it, because that way you can verbalize it and you can go to your architect and tell them, hey, this, and then they're gonna be able to like go straight to the problem and fix it. It's like going to the doctor. You know, when you go to the doctor and you're just like, I'm so sick. I'm like, okay, so what do you suffer from? Like, what are symptoms? I don't know, I'm just so sick. Like, they can't really help you if they don't really do an analysis, they don't do a diagnosis, they don't ask you for like x-rays and doing all these lab works and everything. So basically that's what we're doing here, like doing x-rays and like analyzing and layering and doing all that stuff. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to share with you today. If you're still struggling with your facade, feel free to fill out this form here and I'm gonna get back to you. And if you want to learn more about facade design, I have a playlist. Again, that's also, I'm gonna link it here. And don't forget to like, subscribe, leave me a comment, do all that fun stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.